Hello everyone, my name is Daniel and I'm a programmer and an artist. This is part 4 of the series where I'm going through my process for modeling a game asset. The modeling portion is pretty much done. We've kind of locked the shape in. So what I'm planning to do in this episode is to start setting it up for baking. Once I've done that, I can't really change the shape in any large way. I can add details in line with the surface, but I'm kind of locked into this shape once I go past this point and start making the low poly, unless I want to come back and redo all of the work that I do from this point forward. So in short, you just want to make sure that you have your overall shape completely done and you're happy with it before you move on to this next step. As far as the scene goes, I added a couple things. I put in a wedge here, which you would use to elevate the barrel of the cannon, which sort of completes that so it's not just floating in the air. And then I organized the file, so I renamed everything so that the names weren't just cube 52 and whatever. Other than that, I put the carriage in a collection and used a collection to object for all of that over here. So all of the individual pieces we can still edit on these, and then sort of the assembled gun is the using collection to object nodes. So the first thing we could do is we could just move all of this into a collection, and we could call it Canon High Poly, because that's going to hold our high poly. And then from here, I think initially we could turn off realize on all of these. And then let's see what happens if we do a make instances real, and then move all of that on Y over. And then we can move that to a new collection, and we'll call it Canon Low Poly. Then we're going to want to make all of this single user data, because it currently has a copy of the object data is linked between the two, so we want to clear that out. And then on our high poly here, we can select all of that and turn the realize back on, because we'll need to do that if we're going to bake textures. All right, now we should have a copy that we can edit, and the changes won't affect anything that we've done already. So for this low poly one, we can start deleting some of the details we don't want in here. We can actually snap the cursor to the carriage here and delete that, because we have this one that we will use instead. All of the rings, these are big enough that I think I will leave them in. This we don't need, this we don't need. I think that we shouldn't need. We'll leave this in, but we actually can't see any of this, so let's scale it down slightly. Apply the solidify, and then I think we can just delete this top face because we're never going to see it. Let's put some seams in here and unwrap that. And then let's do the same over here. We will scale this on Y to 0.9, apply this. I should have done this first, but I forgot about it. All right, then another thing I want to do is I want to, on the wheel here, merge these together. So let's apply the arrays and then join these two together. Then let's edit this. Let's merge by distance. And then let's select the interior faces, delete all the interior faces. We can select this ring and pull it out so that it's very close to that one. We can select this ring and pull it out. Like this. We'll select everything and we'll merge by distance again, and we'll set the distance to be like 0.01, which should merge all of these vertices together. And then we can select the interior faces again and delete those faces. And that should give us a nice clean mesh. Now we can see here the normals are all messed up, so that's another thing we need to do. Let's turn on face orientation and select everything. Go in edit mode, select it all and press Control N to fix the normals. You can see there's still a couple of problems, so this was hidden, so we can fix those. This as well. Here. This is weird, I'm not sure why this happens, but if we snap the 3D cursor here and select all of this, we can sort the mesh elements by the cursor distance, and that'll fix some of those reverse problems. If we also should scale this to 0 on the X and Z axes, so that around the 3D cursor, so that that's merged solid. And then on these, it's because it's perfectly square for some reason, it doesn't like that. So if you just scale it the tiniest bit, it will flip around. All right, we have to do that here too. This we can just actually convert this to, well, we'll snap the 3D cursor to this. This is another thing that it would have been better to do before making the copy. Oops. There we go. And then we can actually just convert this to a mesh and fix the normals that way on this one. Now here, I guess we need to flip this normal. So I didn't think about that. These we shouldn't have selected when we corrected the normals. I wonder why some of these flipped and some didn't. Oh well, there's always something. All right, I believe I fixed all of those. All right, then we can turn off the face orientation overlay. So that's all fine. We will also want some of these. Let's make a copy of these. Move them down over here and move them to the low poly collection. And we'll want a copy of this. So let's make a copy of that, convert it to a mesh, and then we'll snap the origin to the 3D cursor, which will let us, oh, and then let's move it to the low poly collection. Then we can snap the cursor to this carriage and snap this to the cursor, which will get us this. And then we only need half of this. So let's delete this half. And then we can actually clean this up a little bit. We don't need any of these loops. And we can actually just get rid of this. Should be good. Then anything that still has a mirror modifier on it, we want to get rid of all the mirror modifiers because that saves texture space if we only bake half of it. Says a mirror. like so. This has a mirror. All right, and that will be our low poly model for baking. Then just to make it super obvious that that's what it is, I actually like to clear out all the materials. Let's make a new bake material and link that material to all of the objects. That doesn't work on any that had more than one material, but we can. Oh, and this one, we'll have to convert this to a mesh. Well, actually, we can place those later anyway, so let's delete that. All right, so there's our low poly that we'll bake the textures to, and then this will be our high poly. In the next episode, I will start adding more details and making the high poly look as nice as we possibly can. And then when we bake it, we'll transfer all of that work onto the slow poly model. So just to recap what we did, we've committed now to this shape. We can't change the shape anymore. We can go in and we can add, when we bake, it will bake from a short distance away in, like this. So we can add any details we want in that little gap. So we can put things right on the surface of the shape that we already have, but we can't go altering the shape in any major way. And then we have it set up to optimize the textures as much as possible by reusing everything that's mirrored on the other side as well. So yeah, that's where we're at so far. In the next one, we'll start adding details and making it look nice. That's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching.